The humid air of Charleston clung to everything like a second skin, thick with the smell of saltwater and magnolia blossoms. It was late June, the kind of evening where the sun bled orange and crimson over the marshes, and the sound of cicadas swelled like a restless heartbeat. Michael Carter stood barefoot on the back porch of his two-story colonial home, sipping a cold beer, staring at nothing in particular. His wife, Emily, had been gone all afternoon. She'd said she was meeting her friend Laura for brunch and maybe some shopping downtown. But that was 6 hours ago. She wasn't answering his texts. At first, he hadn't thought much of it. Emily was social, outgoing, always buzzing with energy. But lately, there had been changes. Subtle things. Her phone, which used to sit casually on the kitchen counter, was now always face down or tucked into her purse. She'd started wearing perfume before girls' nights. She smiled less, laughed less, at least when she was with him. Michael took another long swig of beer and forced himself to breathe slowly. "Don't go there," he muttered. "Don't be paranoid." But his gut twisted. Something was wrong. He could feel it, like a storm building on the horizon. Chapter 1, A Perfect Marriage. On paper. Michael and Emily had been married for 7 years. They'd met at the College of Charleston, fallen in love fast, and married right after graduation. Emily was a teacher at a local elementary school. Michael worked as a construction manager for a mid-sized firm. They had the kind of life people envied, a beautiful house in West Ashley, weekend trips to Folly Beach, Sunday dinners with family. Their friends often said they were the perfect couple. But Michael knew perfection was a fragile illusion. He'd noticed the first cracks about 2 months ago. Emily had started coming home late, claiming extra work meetings or after-school activities. She was more distracted, less affectionate. And then there was her phone. Always guarded, like it held a piece of her he wasn't allowed to see. Michael had tried to convince himself it was stress. Teaching could be exhausting. But deep down, fear gnawed at him. Chapter 2, The First Sign. That night, Emily finally came home just after 9:30 p.m. Michael was sitting on the couch, TV muted, when he heard the garage door. She walked in wearing a floral sundress, her hair tousled like she'd been caught in the ocean breeze. Her cheeks were flushed, and there was a faint, sweet smell on her skin, not her usual perfume. Something exotic. "Hey," she said, a little too casually. "Sorry I'm late. Laura and I ended up grabbing dinner." Michael's eyes flicked to her hands. No shopping bags. No takeout containers. "Dinner?" he asked, voice carefully neutral. "Yeah." She kicked off her sandals, avoiding his gaze. "At that new seafood place on King Street. You'd love it." Michael forced a smile. "Next time, maybe we should go together." "Sure," Emily said, her tone light, but her eyes darted away. Later, when she went to shower, Michael's unease sharpened. He quietly picked up her purse and checked for her phone, but it wasn't there. A hollow pit opened in his stomach. She'd taken it with her into the bathroom. Chapter 3, Seeds of Doubt. Over the next few weeks, Michael watched their marriage unravel in tiny, almost imperceptible ways. Emily seemed elsewhere. When they sat on the couch, she scrolled endlessly on her phone, smiling faintly at texts she never shared. When he kissed her, she kissed back, but it felt mechanical, like a habit rather than desire. One Saturday morning, Michael suggested they take a drive to the beach. Emily hesitated, then said, "I promised Laura I'd help her shop for a wedding gift." Rain check. Something in her tone made his chest tighten. "Emily," he said quietly. "Are you happy with us?" Her eyes flickered, just for a second, before she forced a bright smile. "Of course I am. Why would you even ask that?" But later, as Michael worked in the yard, he saw Emily through the window, leaning against the kitchen counter, phone pressed to her ear. She was laughing, a full, genuine laugh he hadn't heard in weeks. When she noticed him watching, she quickly ended the call and busied herself with dishes. Chapter 4, The Truth in Fragments. Michael couldn't take it anymore. He started paying closer attention. He noticed a pattern. Emily had girls' nights every Thursday. Always the same excuse. Always gone for hours. One Thursday evening, he decided to test her story. After she left, he called Laura. "Hey, it's Michael," he said, trying to sound casual. "Is Emily still with you?" There was a long pause on the other end. She left a little while ago," Laura said carefully. "Why?" Michael's heart pounded. "Just wondering." "Thanks." When Emily came home hours later, she smelled faintly of whiskey and cologne. That night, while she slept, Michael took her phone from the nightstand. His hands trembled as he opened her messages. Nothing. No suspicious texts. No calls. But then he checked her photo gallery. Buried deep in a hidden folder, he found a picture that made his breath catch, a selfie Emily had taken in a dimly lit hotel room. She was wearing lingerie he'd never seen before, biting her lip in a way that was meant for someone else. The timestamp was from last Thursday night. Chapter 5, The Affair. The next morning, Michael confronted her. "Emily," he said, holding up the phone. "Who is he?" Her face went pale. For a moment, she didn't speak, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. "Michael, it's not what you think." "Don't," he snapped. "Don't you dare lie to me." Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did." Michael felt like the floor had been ripped out from under him. "How long?" he demanded. Emily's voice was barely a whisper. "A couple of months." Michael staggered back, rage and heartbreak crashing over him. "Who is he?" When she didn't answer, he shouted, "Who?" Finally, she whispered, "His name is Daniel. He works at the district office." Michael's vision blurred. Someone she saw every day. Someone who knew she was married. "You've been lying to me. Sneaking around. In our home, in our city," his voice cracked. "Do you even love me anymore?" Emily sobbed, covering her face. "I don't know." Those 3 words cut deeper than the betrayal itself. Chapter 6, The Plan. For days, Michael moved through life in a fog. Work felt meaningless. Food tasted like ash. At night, he lay awake beside Emily, listening to her breathe, wondering if she was dreaming of Daniel. Friends and family noticed the tension, but Michael brushed them off. He wasn't ready to tell anyone. Not yet. Then, one evening, Emily told him she needed to clear her head and was going out for a drive. Michael watched her leave, his chest hollow. And then, slowly, a dark idea began to take shape. He got in his truck and followed her. Chapter 7, The Confrontation. Emily drove to a small boutique hotel near downtown Charleston. She parked in the back lot, glanced around nervously, then went inside. Michael waited. His pulse roared in his ears. 20 minutes later, Daniel arrived. Michael recognized him immediately, tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of guy who wore confidence like cologne. Michael's hands tightened on the steering wheel. When the lovers disappeared into a room, Michael's decision crystallized. He went home, packed Emily's clothes into garbage bags, and left them on the porch. Then he poured himself a stiff drink and waited. At midnight, Emily returned, looking startled when she saw the bags. "What's going on?" she asked, panic rising in her voice. Michael stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "You're done lying. You're done living here. You want Daniel. Go to him. Michael, please." "No," his voice was cold, final. "You broke us, Emily. You don't get to fix it. For the first time, Emily seemed to truly grasp what she'd lost. She fell to her knees, sobbing. But Michael didn't flinch. Tomorrow, he said quietly, I'll call a lawyer. And then he closed the door. Epilogue, Freedom. Weeks later, Michael stood on the same porch where his suspicions had first begun. The marshes glowed golden in the setting sun. The divorce papers were signed. Emily had moved in with Daniel. Michael's heart still ached, but there was clarity now, a sharp, painful kind of freedom. As he sipped his beer, he whispered to the humid evening air, never again. The cicadas hummed in response, carrying his vow into the darkening sky.